So this is not a game that I would record or review, but somebody in the YouTube channel wanted me to review this game, so I'm going to review this and record it at the same time so that I can post it on YouTube right after. Now, personally, I already know why I lost this game, but the people that are just watching might not. I think one of the reasons, I think when it comes to the actual gameplay between certain civs, the longer the game generally goes, the more chances you have at making mistakes and coming back. But the shorter the game is, the harder it is. So in a matchup like Kronos versus Hades, generally it's going to be a timing push in the heroic age that can kind of kill you or cripple you. So the games are generally shorter paced. So in that sense, you can't have any mistakes to your opening build order, because if you do, then you're going to have a lot of trouble in the mid game trying to actually come back. Because once again, the longer the game goes, the more chances that you can make a mistake and come back. The shorter the game, the less forgiving it is. In this particular game, I already screwed up my build order. I forgot about the Hades Vault of Erebus build order, and I reallocated my vills, I think, a little bit last minute. You can see that I'm shuffling vills around. So I probably added like 15 seconds or so, or a 30-second delay right on my build itself. And 30 seconds at a top level versus an aggressive civilization is absolutely massive. So that's not something that you want to have happen to you. But in any case, just going to speed it up a little bit. First, Kronos in general, they usually, if you're Hades, you can kind of, you can kind of disperse the early aggression that Kronos puts on with just your Sentinels. And then usually the Kronos is not going to want to play too aggressively into this. So what the Kronos player would usually do is just take a second TC. And since you know that the Kronos player is taking a second TC, you kind of want to just match it with your own second TC. If you are going to play aggressive, it's generally pretty hard because the TC goes up super fast for Kronos. So versus Kronos or versus a civilization, if you're Hades and you know that they're not going to want to play aggressively into Sentinels, you can kind of try to like get ready to take your second TC, which is what I did. But I took a second TC with Vault of Erebus, but my Vault was very delayed because I told you guys I messed up the opening build order. And you're going to see how that kind of cost me a little bit later on. Just watching the game right now, I scouted his base. He does have a forward gold mine, but even with the forward gold mine, it's just very, very difficult to push into a Kronos player. And the reason why is he can Oracle some Cairo Ballistas at the back here. Cairo Ballistas are 20 range, so if you're pushing into this gold mine, and assuming he doesn't take the second TC, he can easily repel early aggression. With Twitch chat, I'm actually recording this for YouTube, so I'm not going to be interacting that much right now until after this game. There was somebody in my YouTube chat comments that wanted to see this game reviewed rather. So he comes in with the Prometheans. Usually this is a strategy to just delay me and then be able to take his own second TC while that's being delayed. So I know that's coming, so I thought I can send my hero and kind of like do a little bit of damage, but essentially it doesn't really work because you can just Valor a villager when it gets really low. I think if I can get my second hero here ASAP, maybe there's a chance, but look, you can see how fast this is going up. It's going to go up really fast. You won't be able to really deny it. So I would just try to take my own second TC and kind of just play it from there. You can see I'm really delayed. It's already 5 minutes and I'm not even really close to getting a second TC. And that's all because I messed up my opening build order. I should have had Vault of Erebus much sooner. And then since I messed up the build order, I just kind of like took Hand Axe, which I shouldn't have taken before a second TC. Getting a second TC this late puts you in a very bad position because he can actually put units there and kind of delay you from taking it, which you're going to see he actually does very soon. I kind of try to distract him here, but he was on top of me, so he actually had Prometheans already here. He got one villager. I think he's going to get two right here. So at this point, I'm already 2 villagers down, maybe even 3. I don't remember if this went down. 3 villagers down, and I'm down in a town center, and I did absolutely no damage to him in his base. So at this point in the game is already over. Like the chances of winning are at a very high level are slim to none. Thank you for the sub, Satfat. So at this point, if it's you're already in a very, very bad predicament. So you're gonna have to play really greedy in order to win. And I know that as well. So I know that straight up the chances of winning are slim. So I try to play as greedy as I possibly can to kind of get back into this game. And you're gonna see very soon the things that I did. But I'm really, really far behind at this point. He has almost like what 40% more vills than me too, right? Yo, thank you for the sub, Safat. I'm just recording this for YouTube, so after this, I'm gonna watch some other games. I think Recon sent me one. I'm gonna watch that next. Okay, so I got a TC up, and I've been playing greedy as well in the sense that I've been taking external hunt, which could be very risky if he actually scouted it. And I didn't make any army. I'm just gonna try to go straight to H3 and do a little bit of a timing push. At this point, by the way, once again, I'm saying it again, the game is already over. Just by me not having a proper build order, by me, messing up the beginning, is very, very difficult to come back into this. The only way I can see myself getting back into this is if the game is extremely long. By extremely long, I mean like 15, 20 minutes. So I'm going to either have to drag out the game very long, or I'm going to have to hit him with a very strong timing push in which I can kill him or cripple him, right? So I opted to do the timing push. Looking at his gold, he has pretty forward gold, so I thought I can do a little bit of a timing push and get him there, but you'll see it's not really, didn't really work out as well as I thought it could. In hindsight, would I have changed anything I did here? I don't think so. I think I would have done the exact same thing. The only thing I would have changed was have a better build order. In a matchup like this, the build is very, very critical. So just messing up, being delayed on 15, 20 seconds on your town center could be pretty bad. All right, so I got a really good curse off here, which is going to allow me to stay on herdables rather than start farming very early. And I'm going straight to his second gold mine. So I'm just going to make this revealed at this point. So he didn't have a he had almost no units as well. So I had a very small chance right here. And I pushed in. I did have restoration still. So I think if I had a little bit better micro, maybe there was a chance that I can do some damage. But once again, like you can see the economy, he's up 30 vills on me, right? It's gonna be very, very tough. Even in terms of military units, I'm fighting right beside his production building, so it's just a matter of time until he catches up. And once he switches to Contarius here, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, so I kind of just pulled back a little bit. So at this point, now that I got repelled on my timing push, there's only one surefire way to win, which is to try to drag the game out as long as I possibly can and take good fights. It's as simple as that, but it's very complicated in theory because he's going to have a lot more units than you. Stuff like this, where you catch a few units, can be critical in trying to get the game back into your favor. Now I know his army's here. I know he put a fortress here, so I should rotate my army around this side. By rotating my army this way, pushing from here, I have a good retreat path as well, and I have a good reinforcement path. I shouldn't have pushed here. Just swing my army here. That was going to buy me a little bit of time and have him forced into making more units. But you can see he's already on his way to Mythic, so I'm in a lot of trouble already right off the bat. All of this is just stemming from the fact that my build was really bad at the beginning. One little mistake like that, and it pretty much costs you the game at this level. So what I should have done probably, the other difficult part versus Kronos as well is he has deconstruct. So something like my fortress, which is the only way I can kind of like stabilize, is not going to be very useful. And since towers kind of suck right now too, there's no point just if towers were reasonable, I would put one tower here and one tower here and just kind of just delay the game as much as I could. But it's very hard to delay with towers being as weak as they are. The only other thing I could have done was put down another fortress here, but I don't think I had the economy to do so. So that's why it was just very, very tough from that point onwards. Like thinking about this with full vision of the map, the only way to win in this scenario is if my opponent makes a mistake. If he doesn't make a mistake, he plays properly, he does the right moves, the chances of winning are slim. And here he does the right thing where it deconstruct me, and then you can see like this. I also think like Implode is a little bit too strong at the moment because there's zero counterplay, right? I'm losing, what's my pop? It's 142 pop right now. I have 17 Peltas, 6 Hoplites, some other units, and then I have 13 villagers right here. So let's see how much it sucks in. So I think almost all the villagers got sucked in. Oh my god, and you can see my pop is at 70 pop now, right? So Implode alone just pretty much cost me the game. And this is one of the things I was talking about in my video about what's wrong with AOM. Like, I don't have a problem with having strong god powers, but I think strong god powers should be kind of complemented with the fact that you have the ability to have some counterplay, right? There's no counterplay right now to Implode. I can't garrison my villagers in, say, a fortress. And I can't, it's very hard to run away as well because you can just plant Implode right down on my army. So strong god powers are good, but you can see in this scenario, like there was zero chance of me coming back now. If there was a chance of me coming back, there would have to be without Implode. Implode took me down to 80 pop, so the game is essentially over. I don't like the fact that you can have like one god power, cast it, and finish the game instantly. I like when there's a little bit of counterplay options. So Implode is something that right now, in my opinion, has almost, well, not almost, it has zero counterplay. So essentially the game is over at this point. 200 pop versus 90, so there's no way you can really win, right? I tried my best to kind of, delay it as much as I could, but essentially the game is over at this point. I should have canceled my mythic. I went to Artemis. I don't think this is going to do anything at this point, so I should have just probably used it for units. The only way you can kind of come back at this point is win like 2 or 3 fights without losing any units. So another thing that I was talking about as well is I know I'm in a really bad position, right? 200 pop to it was 80. So if I had the ability to put static defenses down and towers weren't so weak, then maybe I can kind of drag the game out a little bit longer, force him to make a lot of siege. But since there's almost no static D right now in Retold, besides fortresses, which fortresses are okay, they're not that bad, but since there's no static D like towers, there's no way for me to delay this game. So he points and clicks Implode, kills my entire army, all my villagers. I have pretty much nothing to kind of like have a fallback point. There is no fallback point. The only fallback point you have is just your unit production, which is all of these buildings right now. I'm highly certain they're going to buff towers because it's pretty obvious that they're very bad. So I'm speaking to the future. If you're in a position like this and towers are reasonably buffed, which I think they're going to be, hopefully in the future, I would say plant down like 2 or 3 towers and just stay within the confines of your static D, because you're not going to be able to win a 200 pop army with a smaller force, right? The only way you can win that is with good static defenses, which I did not have and which I don't have in the game right now. So at this point, there's no really real reason to watch. Game is kind of already over. Um, but just to summarize, all of this came down to my opening build order. And I don't think this is the case at a lower elo. I think you have a lot more chances to come back at lower elo, but when you're playing versus the best of the best, then small mistakes which delay your town center by 20, 30 seconds in an aggressive matchup such as Hades versus Kronos, then you're not going to be able to come back, right? If the game is like super long and you're on a somewhat even footing, like let's say 20 minutes long, 20 plus minutes long, and you're on an even footing, then you can come back from making all these bad mistakes. But the key to victory here was don't mess up the opening build order. Since I messed up the opening build order, then try to go for a timing attack if you can. Play very greedy so you can kind of diminish that bad opening, which I tried to do as well by going for like really risky hunt. But even that didn't work, right? I couldn't do a timing attack. I couldn't be very greedy. And then the only other option after that is to try to delay the game as long as possible. The longer the game goes on, the more you have a chance to like kind of come back in terms of economy. But you can't even do that because Implode is so strong. And the fact that Implode just, it's a point and click, completely kills your army and there's no fallback point, you can't really do that either. So why did I lose? I lost because I completely butchered my opening build order. And in the future, what I will do is just have a better opener. I think honestly that's kind of the only thing you can do at the moment. But I think in the when they do buff static defenses where they're actually usable, like towers, when they're not like 8 DPS or something like that, then that's what you would want to do. All right, so I hope you guys learned something from that replay review. Probably not that much aside from, just have a better build order. But yeah, if you guys liked it, hit that like button and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.